December 29th, 1963. The town is Chicago. The two best football teams in the world meet in a deadline to glory.
That was the first game I ever went to. My uncles couldn't have picked a better game for me to go to.
No one has played middle linebacker better than Dick Butkus.
In my opinion, the greatest defensive football player that ever lived. Gale Sayers once asked me who was better, me or Peyton. I said, if I need one game, I want you. If I need a season, I'll take Walter. He says, that sounds fair. Changed the whole culture of the Chicago Bears. Enjoyed working with the guy, enjoyed being friends with the guy, and he's a legend.
You're 100% right, but you're a pain in the butt.
I actually cried when they won the Super Bowl. I couldn't believe it.
I just have one thing to say. We all have bragging rights over the whole goddamn country.
Lovie Smith was a heck of a coach. Now, he's not a Lovie Smith fan, but he made me a Lovie Smith fan. Matt Nagy sabotaged his career. Him and Trubisky had something good going. They made the playoffs twice in 4 years. He took his career, threw it in the dumpster, and now he's getting coffee for Andy Reid. I like the Bears for third place this year, but surprise us. 5 to 6 teams a year that make the playoffs are new teams that didn't make it the year before. Hopefully they'll be one of them.
Welcome, everyone, to the debut episode of the Mike North Advantage with none other than Michael North. I should point this way. How are you, Mike?
Awesome open. Awesome open, Aldo. Great job. Great ads. Raul Jewelers, thank you so much for being there for the next 17, 18 weeks, hopefully into the playoffs, if we should happen to make the playoffs. We're going to have some special features this year. Next Monday at 3 o'clock is when we commence to every week, and I will have picks for everybody. I will have the Monday night pick. I'll have maybe the total, maybe some proposition bets this year, some prop bets. But this is going to be a fair and square show like it's always been. I'm going to tell you, we just mapped out the show right before we came on. I said, Aldo, here's what I want to see next week. Our first segment, we'll do it right now. We'll just walk you through this, folks. Okay? It's going to be titled Bear Down. It's going to be 15 minutes of bearing down on the Chicago Bears. Okay, and I feel good. I've been a Bear fan since 1961. I have, what's up, Stephen? You did a great job in the movie The Oscar, by the way. Outstanding. Stephen Boyd, outstanding. But really, I've been hearing the same song and dance for a long time. And yet, since 1961, I only have 2 championships to show for it, the 63 and the 85. And then we have Lovie Smith, who almost got it done in 2006 with Rex Grossman at quarterback. That would have been unbelievable. But they're the forgotten. The 2006 Bears are the forgotten team in Super Bowl lore, if you'll speak. Just sort of like the White Sox. With the World Series in 2005, you would see a list of all the Chicago teams, and they'd forget about the White Sox. That's where the Bears are. They seem to have a good vibe going right now, but they've had good vibes before. We have a lot of the same people making the same outlandish predictions. We will have our segment, What Did You Say? That will be segment 2 coming up in about 10 minutes, where I just got a toast of people that are going to tell you what the Chicago Bears are going to do again, folks. But I will say this, it's been a decent camp. I did not watch. I'm very proud of myself. Hard Knocks. I talked to my buddy Carmen DeFalco, who told me, who's watched it every year, it wasn't good. They kept a lot of key parts out. They kept fights out. They kept swearing out because of the mother. It's a National Football League, kids. Okay? Don't go soft on us already before the season starts. It's the way it is. Mom should be the first one saying, God damn, I can't believe I inherited this. You know what I mean? So
Do you want to tell the audience what you told me when we were recording the Open last week about the mom saying something about?
No, all I said was that basically George McCaskey should not be opening his mouth. He should let Ryan Poles, who's done a decent job controlling things, no noise out of camp. We don't need to hear patience. We don't need to hear that patience. As far as the Bears got that 2016 Cubs vibe from our buddy Grizz, I think the Packers and the Lions and a lot of the teams in the league might have something to say about that. You know, we can't walk in cocky. We won 7 games. We just got off another maddening 3-year quarterback training. Okay. Basically, the Bears have had 3 winning quarterbacks since 1980. Jim McMahon, Jim Harbaugh, Mitch Trubisky. We don't have any other winning quarterbacks. Okay. And Caleb Williams has a lot to prove. And I have not heard fantastic buzz, but I have not heard negative buzz. And I also like the kid. I think he's a likable guy. I don't care if he paints his nails. I don't care if he gets dressed up in a gown. Who hasn't at one point or another? Me and Buck behind closed doors, of course. I had a nice chiffon one. But the one thing that always bothered me was when after a loss, he left his team and jumped in the stands. That's forever going to be etched in my mind. Didn't handle himself in a leadership type way, in that opinion. But slate's clean. He's predicted to do this, predicted to do that. We don't play a division game. Okay, since till week 11.
That's correct.
That, to me, is tough.
Yep.
Because what kind of shape? Now, are we going to be a better team by week 11? We'll find out. What's our record going to be? I happen to have heard Mike Wilbon yesterday, okay, with Carmen and Sylvie, saying, you know, if they lose the first game, it's no big thing. I tend to disagree, and so did Sylvie and Waddle. I'm sorry. You lose that first game. Now, automatically, there's a negative vibe. Okay?
Yep.
There's a negative vibe. So, you know, they were talking about, you know, basically that quarterbacks are 0-14-1 since 2002 that have been drafted first. They've never won. So Wilbon says, well, maybe that would be a good thing. No, it won't. Not for this fan base. Not for this football team. Not, once again, for all the positive vibes. Okay? And for the outlandish predictions that we're hearing. Okay? So all I'm saying is, if you want to be patient, that's fine. Now, we heard from people that this kid is a generational quarterback. We don't know that. Okay? Here's what he's got going against him. He comes from one of the poorest quarterback pro schools of all time. He precedes, or he comes after Justin Fields, who came from one of the worst quarterback schools of all time. Now, last year, the Texan quarterback got off the snide from Ohio State, Stroud. That's a needle in the haystack. But the USC quarterback, the best who ever came out of there, I thought was going to be Matt Leinart. It didn't happen. Carson Palmer was okay. Okay. But to me, he's got the same situation that Fields had. Plenty of time to throw. Lincoln Riley was his coach. Lincoln Riley does 2 things, folks. He chokes at the end of football games, important ones near the end of the year, although they did look well. And they've already replaced Caleb at USC with the new guy, Moss. He threw 6 touchdowns in the bowl game last year, and they just beat LSU. Okay? My point is, Peyton Manning left Tennessee. They still haven't replaced him. Dan Marino left Pitt. They still haven't replaced him. Okay? John Elway left Stanford. They still haven't replaced him. Caleb Williams left USC. They replaced him. That's my point. The no D league back then. We'll see how this kid does in the Big Ten. But can a USC quarterback do what an Ohio State quarterback wasn't supposed to do? He'll have all the time in the world to pass at USC. Will he have that same amount of time to pass with the Bears? History tells us it's the National Football League. He's going to be under siege. Still, the offensive line of the Bears, iffy right now. The defensive line of the Bears, iffy. I think we're strong at linebacker. I think we're strong at defensive back. Okay? That's true. Luck replaced Elway respectfully. John Elway, better quarterback, pro, automatically 2 Super Bowls. Luck quit in the middle of something, so I don't know what you're trying to tell me there. Quitting there in the middle of the season or when the season was supposed to start. Couldn't take it. So I'm just looking at Green Bay and Detroit. Minnesota was a break because I think McCarthy's a real deal. I think Sam Darnold is the worst quarterback maybe of them all, okay, in that division. But do we know what the Bear running game's going to do? Do we know what – I think our receivers are great, and I think that basically Caleb Williams has had the best, wouldn't you say, Aldo, all-around team around a rookie? Because most of those first-round picks that go 0-14-1, they go to crap teams with no DJ Moore on them, no budding defense. I think this guy, can he beat the trend of being a first pick in the draft and winning in his first game? Nobody's done it. But if there was ever a chance, I think this is it.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. He is surrounded by immense talent. If the offensive line can at least be an average offensive line in the NFL, he's got the weapons. And we have heard from both Poles and Eberflus that they want him to play conservatively. And then when the game is on the line, in big situations, he can then be the ad-libber, the X factor that he was so good at USC's.
Yeah, and I think that, people are looking at the coaching staff also.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what Caleb Williams has going against him. You got real men rushing you that you didn't have rushing you last year.
Mm-hmm.
You practice daily against the 125th ranked defense in football, the Southern Cal team. You've never taken a snap under center, which you've had trouble adjusting to, as others have who play out of the shotgun, just exclusively. Okay. Your OC, like I said, brand new. So you got a rookie quarterback, brand new OC. You've never taken a snap under center. Okay. And you're playing a Tennessee Titan team that's total is over 6.5. Okay. So I don't think that's bad for where they were. I know I'm going to miss Vrabel. They got a new coach. Their quarterback, Will Levis, he has a year under his belt. I did not like they only played Caleb Williams maybe for the one game. He went 10-20, didn't do anything special, but didn't do anything dumb either. Okay? Like his scrambling ability. Is he going to be able to take the beating that Justin Fields took? I don't think so. That's my opinion. I will say this about Justin Fields. He's one of the toughest son of a bees I've ever seen. Okay? But I told the Pittsburgh Steelers fans when this nonsense was going on, and Aldo and I have been together since, I think, 2018, 2019. And if you folks have been listening to the Mike North Advantage or any other show, I don't have to preach to you how I feel about Russell Wilson. When I heard the nonsense that Justin Fields might start ahead of Russell Wilson, and there were actually Steelers fans who were happy about it, I said, enjoy the last time. You'll enjoy the last time, which was last year, you'll be 500. And Russell Wilson is going to be starting. And I wanted Russell Wilson for the Bears, maybe. And I said they might make the playoffs. Maybe I'll be wrong about that. I won't be wrong about Kirk Cousins, who I wanted for the Bears. I wanted them to take Caleb Williams, okay, and or any other quarterback, and do what the Packers do. Let them watch. Even Tom Brady has said the worst thing you can do is start a rookie quarterback. And they've dummied down the position, the coaches in college, all the way to the pros. So I think it's going to be a hell of a challenge. I want to see the Bears cover the game. I'll have some picks later on for the Monday night game. I'm also going to be doing the odds couple on Fridays. Our podcast will be up
On ESPN.
On ESPN. I want to say that, hopefully the other ESPN will be on TV soon. I have Direct TV, and all the ESPN shows are off.
Oh my God.
But in a way, I got to be telling you, I've been happier. You know what I mean? I haven't seen Greeny or Flowski for a week. You know what I mean?
Take a little vacation from those guys.
Take a little vacation. So that has been our Bear Down
segment,
ladies and gentlemen. And that will be every single week. We will talk Chicago Bear football the first 15 minutes of the show. Now,
and we'll answer some questions, right? So, for instance, Pepe has one. He says, "Hi, Mike. Do you think Caleb has a better chance to lead this team to success than Mitchell Trubisky did?" And of course, he's making reference to the fact that you are a huge Trubisky fan, although you were disappointed with him last season.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in his lack of competitiveness. I believe they took his ball sack and snatched it from him. I really do. I think Nagy screwed this whole thing up. I think he screwed Trubisky badly. I think he screwed Fields. Okay, and then to go back and just have coffee to just sabotage your coaching career. Here's what I did to Carmen. It was a rotten trick. More capable of my rotten tricks from 20 years ago. I'm not like that anymore. I'm not. But I rattled off 4 years of stats. And I said to Carmen, if you have a quarterback, if Caleb Williams throws for 64 touchdowns and 37 interceptions, he throws for about 2,700 yards, not 3,000, not 4, but they make the playoffs twice. He throws for 63%. Will you be happy with that? He goes, yeah. I go, those are Mitch Trubisky's numbers. So the nonsense if he gets in the playoffs twice in 4 years, like they did with Mitch and that team, I'll be thrilled. And I think everybody else will. The stat thing, I'm not big into it because Jay Cutler was 50-50 and 2-11 against Green Bay. He was a stat stuffer. That's all he ever was, and the media fell for it. So we'll see what happens there, man, in my opinion. But
Mike, let me challenge you on that. How much of a team's success is directly responsible to the quarterback on the team?
Everyone but the Bears. Every team I've ever seen.
But would you say 10%, 50%, 90%?
I'd say 50%. Okay. Otherwise, why don't we didn't make the playoffs last year, and we had a pretty good defense. So
we had a good defense in the second half of the season after we acquired Montez Sweat. The first half of the season, the Bears were ranked next to last.
I will say this: we had a quarterback that threw 6 touchdowns in one game and got rid of him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was at that game.
It's almost as bad as getting rid of Chris Sale.
But Mike, I was at that game, and the Tampa Bay Bucks had 4 defensive backs starting who were off the street the week before. They had a rash of injuries in their defensive backfield. They had 2 days of practice, and Trubisky, to his credit, took advantage of every opportunity to
Well, then I saw them come in with Buffalo, and he riddled them for 5 touchdown passes in a preseason game just to shove it up Nagy's ass.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's preseason. That doesn't matter.
Well, it seems to. Well, you know what? I will just go to you. You're the Fields guy.
Yeah.
And you are still praying and hoping. I'm praying and hoping Trubisky gets another chance because he actually put numbers up. And he actually accounted for himself in fourth quarters and had comeback wins. You're begging for a guy that went 10-29. So we'll see. You fight hard against me for Trubisky. I let you off the hook with Fields because he was the worst quarterback maybe the Bears have had outside of Jonathan Quinn. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. So we all have our favorites. Whatever way we got successful, to give the quarterback no credit at all only tells me one thing. We were raised in Chicago. I mean, we have people that think that Caleb Williams is going to be our first franchise quarterback. In my opinion, Jim McMahon was clearly a franchise quarterback. Injuries hurt him, but he won most of his football games. He was a national spokesman for Coca-Cola, for all these places. So when I hear we've never had a franchise quarterback, where were you? If he doesn't get hurt, he's the best quarterback in football, and he still won 2 Super Bowl rings. Any Bear that won a Super Bowl has a special place in my heart, just like Caleb Williams will. So if he could win a Super Bowl, if they could get into the playoffs this year, that would be fantastic. Do I think we improve from Justin Fields? Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. There was some old moldy food in your car, and we hung the mint Christmas tree up to get that spent down. Okay, now
I remember those.
yeah, remember those things? Now let's talk about this, Els. Let's talk about what did you say? I'm going to tell you what the rest of the media has been saying. Okay, and I'm going to get this off Twitter. I hear it on the radio. It's just going to be probably a segment that will maybe piss some people off. First, I want to give Russell Baxter all the credit in the world. Russell Baxter's a guy on Twitter, and you could check him out.
I know Russell. He's a good guy.
He always has these cool days with the jersey numbers and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And Russell likes my contributions because I come up with something different that he said, wow, he sends me personal messages sometimes. Today he said, wow, that's a great catch. There's one day till 2024. And this is at Russell, at Back Football Guru. And 1920 All-Pro and NFL champion in 6 seasons. Okay. This guy, Fritz Pollard, was one of the all-time greats, but he played in the 20s. Okay. But here's a fact that I don't know how many people know, but what I've always had on my business card is educator. That's me. He's a graduate of Lane Tech High School in Chicago. He played baseball, football, and ran track. And he lived in Rogers Park on Lunt and Ravenswood in the 1920s. So he went to Lane Tech. I want to give Russell Baxter all the credit in the world. Now, number 2, Pro Football Talk. Week 1 is here. Pro Football Talk. It's at Pro Football Talk. They have a list of the power rankings. I want to see if anybody's got a problem with it. Okay, number 1's the Chiefs. That's automatic. Then you got the Lions, Packers, 49ers, Ravens, Eagles, Bengals, Bills, Buccaneers, Texans, Dolphins, Browns. So far, not bad. Out of 32 teams, they have the Bears 13th. The teams behind the Bears, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, the Falcons, the Rams, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Jaguars. I would have preferred they be 17 or 18. Some more of the hype featuring this Chicago Bear team, which is surrounding Caleb, ranked 13. Do you think that's a little bit too low, or do you think that you would like to have seen them somewhere in the middle?
I would rather see them at number 1 because I'm a fan first and foremost. But
the Chiefs aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear you. I mean, realistically, if I had to do a power thing, I would probably
have the Rams ahead of the Bears.
I think
that's and McVay.
Yeah, because they've got some veteran leadership, and Caleb hasn't proven anything yet. So yeah.
Okay, you got Chargers at 18 behind the 5 behind the Bears with Harbaugh and Herbert. The Cowboys at 19, they've won 12 games the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. So they have them. Kudos to them for thinking that the Bears are going to get 13 surprises, like I always say. Adam Shine. I was driving home from playing golf this morning, and I'm listening to Mad Dog Radio.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say? I had to turn it up. He says the Bears are going to be the second wild card team in the NFC. By the way, this is the first time in 5 years with Aldo where Aldo's going, Jesus Christ, this guy did his homework.
Yeah, he came so prepared.
Setting up the laughter, he went, let's go. You know what I mean?
It's all those diamonds, raw jeweler diamonds that have affected
where you can see it from miles away. Anyway, 11 games he's got the Chicago Bears as the second wild card team in a tough-ass conference. the NFC, where you got all those teams. But he's in line a little bit with Pro Football Weekly. Also want to thank our friend Joe Madden. God bless her. She's a beautiful lady.
Yeah.
Doesn't take any time off. She's a lot like me, likes to handicap all the sports. She does hockey, football, talented woman. She says, will Caleb Williams break the streak versus the Titans? Let's hear your thoughts. And the streak is quarterbacks drafted number 1 overall are 0-14-1 in their first start since 2002.
Wow.
So while me and Aldo are waxing poetic about Trubisky and Fields and Cutler and McMahon, let's get to business. After seeing that stat, after seeing that they're only 4.5-point favorites when the Titans have been panned, are you a little concerned, especially with the trend of 0-14-1 for a quarterback right now?
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up because just yesterday I was saying, the more and more I learn about the Titans and how their defense plays and so forth, and given, the Bears bad luck, I'm a little concerned about Sunday's game. I don't think this is as easy as a victory as I thought of when the schedule first came out.
Oh, yeah. When the schedule came out, we were thrilled with it. I mean, I still like the schedule. I don't like the back end.
Yeah.
I mean, here's another thing that can happen. By the time you get there, we're going to have injuries. Now, the other teams may have injuries too. But if you lose a quarterback, if you lose one of your running backs, or you lose a guy like Moore after 10 grueling weeks, and you haven't even played a division game, that's something you got to be concerned about. The 0-14-1, it's tough for a rookie, no matter who they're playing. But I still will hold to the fact that they got a shot because I think it's one of the most talented teams a first pick in the draft has had in a long, long time. And I really respect DJ Moore. I respect the Bears defense. I think that the one thing that's not been talked about enough is their defense. I don't know if what we saw last year at the end is more positive than what we saw at the beginning. We will find out. Danny Parkins. Yes, you're national now, Danny, which means you're prey. I know you want to make an impact, kid. I did too. Who doesn't? But when you say Caleb Williams already is the best quarterback of all time, that's utter nonsense. Okay. And when you've leapfrogged all the quarterbacks you like to get to that point to say that, that's utter nonsense. Let it play out. But Jim McMahon, in my lifetime, is the best quarterback the Bears ever had. It wasn't even close. Set 72 records. And I mean, just took Brigham Young to another level that allowed the Steve Youngs to go there, the Robbie Boscos. He was a franchise quarterback. If he doesn't get hurt, he plays 12, 13 years. He said he hurt his shoulder when he got slammed by that guy in the cheap shot. And Charles Martin, that was the beginning of the end. So, Danny, with all due respect, welcome to national TV, and you're out of your mind, okay? Last but not least, on our media segment, God, I'm timing this off pretty good today, ladies and gentlemen.
You always do.
Questions and stuff. I'm just getting it done. I want to wish two of my favorite guys, Paul Howard and Mitch Moss, here in our wonderful media segment. What did you say? I want to wish them nothing but the best of luck. They are going to afternoons at Visson. I saw the new show. Anyway, that's going to take them a lot of time. I don't like the 3 split screens. I like you both in the studio. If you want to make that kind of money, move to Vegas. But it's not going to work out if you want a split screen. I'm not enamored with the talent either that you took to replace these two guys that were there for 7 years, getting up at 3 a.m. They started their show in Vegas for 7 years.
Wow.
But I also want to let Paulie know that every time a Trubisky stat was brought up that you couldn't believe, you screamed. Okay? For instance, you can't believe that Trevor Lawrence's stats are equal to Trubisky's, and you scream, what? And they are. And yet Trubisky's making $2.5, $4, $5 million, and And this kid's got a lot of weight on him, $240 million deal, which they didn't have to pay. And then you were also very surprised when you found out that Trubisky was one of the only Bear quarterbacks in the last 35 years to make the Pro Bowl. He wasn't bad. Don't listen to that. I want you guys to enjoy your afternoons. And me and Aldo wish you nothing but the best. Thanks for all the promotions. And I hope you get a TV somewhere, a TV deal where I can see on regular TV.
Absolutely.
Okay? Yeah, they were great. And you know, morning TV's about political and the news and all this stuff. A gambling show in the morning on Marquee is still there. Once in a while, I'll turn it on. You know, but I can't listen to Mike Lombardi talking about the Atlanta Braves. He's a football guy, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, it's time for our third segment.
Before you move,
Go ahead. We're feeling our way through.
Yeah, I got some questions, comments.
Give me them to them. Throw them at me. Because we still got some time.
Right. So when you're talking about franchise quarterbacks, Bruhal says, I think there's a broad definition from person to person as to what franchise means. So what does it mean to you, Mike? What does franchise quarterback mean when you're talking about it and presenting Jim McMahon as a franchise quarterback?
Stud coming out of college, like a lot of guys, fulfills his obligation, knows he's the boss from day one. When Hale has said to him, you know, we drafted you, but you got a bad knee, you got one eye, and McMahon said, then why the fuck did you draft me if I'm so bad?
Yeah.
Walked into his office with a beer. A new era began. The only people that held back Jim McMahon from breaking records for Bears was Ditka, and was the conservative nature of football back in 1985. Okay? And the Bears were stuck, and they've been stuck in it since Sid Luckman. McMahon also brought the Bear franchise with 10 different endorsements nationally. The Roselle controversy, the headband, New Orleans. Not only off the field was he a superstar and brought print, as Aldo knows, and brought eyes to the TV set, but he backed up what he said by winning a Super Bowl with the Chicago Bears. And people can say, like Aldo just said, how much you give the defense. The same argument could be made for the Bears of 85. Their defense is the greatest I ever saw. But McMahon's the best quarterback I ever saw. And Peyton's the best running back I ever saw. And they hit time of possession was the Bears, leading the league in rushing 4 straight years. Never, including Lawrence Taylor, your left tackle was never beat by anybody. Lawrence Taylor played 4 games against them, never had a sack. That was a superstar team.
Jimbo Covert was responsible for handling
Jimbo Covert. He's still waiting for Taylor to stand over a Bear quarterback. Okay? So it was a superstar team, but they didn't win without McMahon. They came up short. I loved Flutie when they brought him in. I think Dick in his heart knew Tom Zak couldn't do it. And Fuller couldn't do it, and he was right. But he got abused by the team that won a Super Bowl and the media. So, to me, that's what a franchise quarterback is.
I will say that Caleb meets all of those criteria that you set out, with the exception of anything in his professional career, because he has yet to play a game.
Yeah,
but he's comes in as the richest quarterback from these NIL deals of all time. Richest player, period. Secondly, he was a true stud at Oklahoma and USC. Yes,
Lincoln Riley coach though, and I would say this to you, Al. Every quarterback, Baker Mayfield, Jack White, every quarterback they've had at Oklahoma or USC because of Lincoln Riley has either won the Heisman, like Mayfield and Caleb, or come close. So I want to give him full credit, but you're right. And now look at the new guy from USC. But you're right with the statistics, just like McMahon was with his stats at Brigham Young.
And Brewhall has a stat. He says all those teams that had these number one quarterbacks had 3 or 5 wins the previous season.
Right, I agree.
So his point is that all those number one quarterbacks were playing on lousy teams and had time to develop.
Yeah, Adam Shine would not be picking the Bears for 11 wins if they had nobody around them.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been hearing 10, 11 wins. The over-under's up to 9 from 8.5.
Yeah.
So people have that exceeding. I think that's a little rich.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if they can win 9 wins, go 9. The thing they don't want is 7 and 10. That's what they were last year. Do you move the needle at all? Has Eberflus gotten any better? So we'll see about that. But Paul Howard and those guys, they're all high on him, but all these people also were high on Fields. I want everybody to know that. A lot of people have been swinging and missing lately, and I want somebody to make contact. I do.
I love it, Mike.
Now, what about the rest of them? Our third segment. Where are they going to finish? What are they going to do? Aldo's going, Jesus.
That's another graphic I got to come up with.
I'm going to go to the AFC East first, okay? I have the Buffalo Bills 1. I have the Jets 2. I have the Dolphins, who a lot of people like. I'm not sold on them, 3, and the Pats 4. Do you have any issue with that, my friend?
Can you go through it one more time?
Bills,
Jets,
whose over-under is 9.5 with Aaron Rodgers, 9.5.
Yeah.
He hasn't played in a year. Dolphins and Pats.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. Here is another one. The Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns, and the Steelers. I think it's a loaded deal. I think Tomlin finally walks into a wall. Lamar Jackson's got to get over the hump. He's 2-4 in the playoffs, but he's a regular season hero. He has 2 MVPs, and to me, that's where it should stop. If he doesn't get there this year, I mean, they name him the MVP, and he's got a 2-4 record in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. You have a problem with this? Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers.
That's a real tough division, but because Joe Burrow can't seem to stay healthy, only one of the 4 seasons or 5 seasons, whatever he's played all the games. I think that the Ravens are going to win that. Their defense is stellar. So I like the Ravens there.
Absolutely. All right. Here's the one, the South, the AFC South. This was tough. I have the Jaguars 1. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't do it now and you paid him that kind of money, he's never going to do it. It's been quiet coming out of their camp. They haven't heard any nonsense. They had a pretty good preseason. My surprise team, and maybe we'll find out more about them this week, is the Titans in that division. I think the new coaching change, I think Levis having another year under his belt. They picked up 3 players. They spent money during the offseason. Second, I think Stroud comes back to the pack with the Texans. The over-under is 9.5. I'm going, wait a minute. They improved. They won 10 games last year. Why is it going to 9.5?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're going to win 10 games this year. Plus, they're not going to sneak up on anybody. Last year, everybody said, what's the Texans? They're what? They're what? I mean, 4-0, 3-1, what have you. And then you have the Colts. I don't believe in their quarterback. I think he's a freak, but so what? A lot of quarterbacks are freaks in this league now, and I just think the Colts are a 4th place team, although I love their coach. And if they're going to do something last year, they were okay. I just think that the Colts are going to finish 4th in what I think is an underrated division. But every year, 5 or 6 new teams make the playoffs, and 5 or 6 teams that made it the year before don't. So I think out of this division, one of them is going to be that. The Colts aren't going to be one of them. They have a problem with this one, Al. Jags, Titans, Texans, Colts.
Mike, we could easily see that division flip where it's Colts at the top and the Jags at the bottom. This is a total quiz for me that I can't solve. So I don't know. I'll go with your votes on it.
This isn't up in the air. You're right. This isn't up in the air one.
Yeah.
This one's not up in the air unless there's an injury. And every one of these picks is about injury, folks. The Chiefs are number 1. in my opinion. Mahomes, they improved their receiver set. Now, I want everybody to know this. The over-under is 11.5. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Last year, they had a great year. They won the Super Bowl. Well, people are going to go, well, they weren't as good during the regular season. What did you hear every week? There were 4 or 5 drop passes that were right in people's hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, the Jacksonville Jagbags. That would be a dream come true for a team to be called.
Oh my gosh, they'd have to pay you for that one.
I got a baseball team in the South Side. I'd like to throw that one in.
Yeah.
Every time the White Sox walk in, it's like, did you ever see? I mean, bullets over. I forget what the movie is. They yell surprise, and the guy just drops dead at his surprise party.
Yeah, Bullets Over Broadway.
Yeah, bullets over surprise. I mean, if the Sox win 2 in a row, that's what we're looking at.
Really?
But really, I look at this. I got the Chiefs. The Chargers will be better. Second place. Broncos and the Raiders. And the Raiders, I mean, they got Minshew at quarterback. I mean, and O'Connell. I'm not big on them. What do you think, Aldo? Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a battle for second place between the Broncos and Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
But you're absolutely right. You can't argue with how you have them listed.
Right. And then we got the NFC East. Carmen's my favorite. He's bet the over twice for the Cowboys the last 2 years. 11, 10.5. And they won 12. Yet he doesn't like Mike McCarthy. And this year, and I point that out to him. Yet this year, they're 9.5. Okay. That's a drop. I'm sorry. I like Mike McCarthy. I think they can win 10 or 11. I like this team, and I'm not down on the quarterback like everybody else is. Dak Prescott, I know he's another Lamar Jackson. What have you done for me in the playoffs? But I got the Cowboys 1, the Eagles 2, the Giants 3. Danny Dimes comes back a little bit. Dabo gets him back on track a little bit, but they do have a tough schedule. And the Commanders 4th, that everybody is saying is going to be a surprise team. Take this for what it's worth, folks. When you hear enough people say a team's going to be a surprise team, it's not going to be a surprise team. The Texans were a surprise team because nobody said they were going to be a surprise team. They're waiting for them to be a surprise team, which means everybody else is alert to them. So what do you think, Aldo? Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, or Commanders?
I'd flip that. I will have the Eagles first, Cowboys second, and I'll have the Commanders in last place because of the rookie quarterback. Well, you had them in last place. So, I'm flipping 1 and 2 there.
I like Jaden Daniels. We'll see what happens. There's going to be a race within the race. We're going to be looking each week at the 5 quarterbacks. Well, the one got hurt, which is a shame. He was looking great. But he'll be back. But you got 4 quarterbacks. Now, we have the North, the NFC North. I have the Lions 1. I have the Packers 2. I have the Bears 3 and the Vikings 4. And I mean, a lot of people are doubting the Packers. And I know that, Aldo, I had to make a decision. That doesn't mean the Bears ain't going to win 9 games. It doesn't mean the Bears can't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
In fact, in the Pro Football Focus, they got the Lions and the Packers in the top 10. So the Bears could easily make the wild card. Do you see them leapfrogging Green Bay, who they haven't beaten since Christ was a child? Mommy, can I go play with the donkey? Yeah, go ahead, Jesus. Good. Do you think the Bears will win anytime soon? Or since Patton was a corporal? Okay. Someday I'm going to run the Allied forces. Shut up and peel potatoes, Patton.
Scottish Bear says Mike North knows nothing about everything. The bookie priest knows everything about everything. We demand the bookie priest.
Next week I'll have the bookie priest on. We'll do a segment. I'll bring him in, but he's moving. He was at our Lady of Rectum Rectory church that He had to be. It's on the west side, and now he's going to be. I believe is in Allsup at Our Lady of Potential Agony Church. That yeah.
I can't argue with what you're saying.
Can't.
It
Surprise
makes
us.
sense. Yes.
Please, can we one of those teams that all of a sudden comes out of nowhere and gets it done? All right. Then you got the South. Boy, I saw something. The Saints are over and under 7.5. The Tampa Bay Bucks are 7.5 after going there last year. I got the Falcons 1. I got the Bucks 2. I got the Panthers 3. And I got the Saints 4 with Allen on the hot seat. I like the guy. Maybe he can get something going, but we'll see. What's your take on this? That's the Falcons, Bucks, Panthers, and Saints.
You know what? The more I think about it, and I have been thinking about it over the weekend, I do agree that the Falcons could be that surprise team because of Kirk Cousins, because they've got all these weapons that are basically
untapped. An injury problem, though, with him and Rodgers, right?
Yes, exactly. Right. That is a great point. And they do have the backup quarterback who they drafted in the first round, the lefty Michael Penix. And so I think they are going to win that division. And that division is so weak. The Bucks should win it, but I think that the loss of David Canales, he went into he was the offensive coordinator, and is huge. And we'll see if Baker Mayfield can operate without an offensive coordinator who really knew how to utilize his talents. So I like those picks, Mike.
All right. Last but not least, the West. I have the Rams. I think McVay's a heck of a coach. I know they lost Aaron Donald, but Stafford can play. I just like their team. I like the way he coaches. The 49ers are loaded, folks. They're going to be a wild card team. Their over-under's 11.5.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that they're going to be okay. Their depending Purdy has been unbelievable. What a pickup he was. He saved their bacon because Trey Lance can't play. And then I got the Seahawks 3rd and the Cardinals 4th. I wouldn't blame anybody if they want to flip the 49ers with the Rams, but I happen to like this Rams personnel, and I happen to like their coaching staff. What you say?
I am going to flip those. I think the 49ers are just super loaded with talent.
Yeah.
They went to the Super Bowl last year. I really think that they want to get back there and avenge that stupid decision by Shanahan. He didn't inform the players that the overtime continues. There could be a second overtime, and it really caught. I think that was the big thing of that Super Bowl game. It was on recently, and I saw
they were winning the game. I watched it.
They had the game in the bag.
San Francisco, McCaffrey fumbles. He never fumbled all year. I'm watching the game, and I'm going, how did they lose this game?
Mm-hmm.
They had them, and they just blew it. Blew it.
I have to ask you, we got a guy named Don Burr who comes into all of our shows. Yeah, he's a huge Detroit fan. He says Detroit versus everybody. He thinks the Bears are going to go 0-17 and the Lions are going to go 17-0. You got a message for Don?
Yeah, you've been wrong every year so far. But I will say this to you, Don. I love you. I have no animosity towards Detroit. I love Campbell, their coach. I think they put together a fine ball club. I think the pressure's on them, though.
Mm-hmm.
They're the focus. Just like the Texans aren't going to sneak up on anybody. Everybody's going to give Detroit their best game, including the Bears and Minnesota. I just happen to think that they have a great team. Pro Football Focus named them number 2 best team in football. I think that's a little rich, so to speak, but we'll see what happens, Don. I appreciate you hanging on with us. Yes, this show is going to be on every single Monday at 3:00. Now I'm going to get the odds up for everybody because we're going to make some picks here, okay?
Well, let me do one thing while you're doing that. I just want to remind the people about Raul Jewelers. They are our sponsor for this show, as Mike has mentioned a couple of times already. You can go over to RaulJewelers.com to see a lot of their inventory. They got the best stuff around at great prices, or you can call them at 847-765-3000. They're over in Hoffman Estates. Truly take a look at Raul Jewelers whenever you're thinking about that special gift, whether it's for a relative, for mom or dad, or you're making that big step in life and want to ask somebody to get married, you need rings and so forth. They've got a great collection of stuff. Mike has been there numerous times.
Oh, yeah.
And been a customer. I have been there a couple of times and met with the staff there. They're all wonderful people. Raw Jewelers, keep them in mind when you're going to make that purchase for something special. They have the best stuff. All right, Mike, this next segment, you are calling pick. What is it?
You want to pick? I can pick more than my nose.
I love it. I can pick more than my nose. That's going to be a fun graphic to come up with that one.
All right, and you know what? Maybe I can't.
Hey, look, Q is back.
Q, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, from Cincinnati.
No doubt, he's been with me since my Fox Sports Radio days. Q, you're the best.
He's a great guy.
You know, now you're the hunted, and you know the Burrows got bored. You know, first of all, but Joe Burrow saying he was bored, so he dyed his hair white. Okay. Don't worry, kid. When your hair actually turns white is when the boredom will really set in.
That's right.
Okay. I mean, I don't dye my hair. One day, I don't know what happens. I like a chia pet. It changes. I don't know what happens over here. But believe me, he'll be dyeing his hair back to brown in 10 years. Okay. I will say this: if you're bored and you're Joe Burrow, what the hell is everybody else?
Really?
You're the quarterback of one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You got nothing but money.
Yeah.
You're single.
Good-looking guy.
Good-looking guy. You're cool. It's the other side of the pillow, Stuart Scott used to say. Yeah, you can probably go walk into any Starbucks and go, I'm Joe Burrow, and 3-4 girls will come up to you and sit with you. And then you can end up, this is an old term, so don't hold it against me, betting one of them down later on.
Highly caffeinated betting them down.
Oh, I spilled my coffee. Anyway. So, but you are the hunted. Now, this isn't going to be easy, folks. We're going to make the Thursday night game pick. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about before we get to that.
Okay.
Because I'm watching the clock and I'm right on it. I can't. Aldo just keeps shaking his head. This is like organized. I cannot believe the Philadelphia Eagles have to play the Green Bay Packers in a third world country under dictatorship.
Not a third world country.
What?
It's not a third world.
It sure as hell is. My niece lived there.
I've done a lot of business in Brazil. I know they're not.
Why isn't everybody flocking there? She came here. She did tell me where the game's being played is okay. But they just stole an election. They are banning Twitter. Well, yes, they are. When did you hear this?
They did not steal the election.
Oh, God.
Twitter because they've been putting.
Oh, no, that's Venezuela. I got my Latin American countries mixed up. That's all I'm saying is it's a home opener. Let's get off all the political stuff. It's a home opener. That should be played in Philadelphia. And it's going to be on Peacock, which means I'm not going to see it because it's Friday night.
That's right.
I mean, where does it say that Friday night's coming? If the Bears ain't on, I'd be the first to tell you. If the Bears were on, I'd watch them. But I'm not going to see this. Now, Aldo, I don't know what your plans are for that night.
I'm probably going to check it out to see, because I'm sure something controversial is going to happen. So I want to be one of the first to know about it.
I know from what I'm understanding, some of the Eagle players are not happy. First of all, with the 10-hour flight. The 10-hour flight is
it's ridiculous.
It's out of this. And it's like, once again, okay, it's in the wonderful paradise of Brazil, okay, where they had to. Okay. I want to get the Brazilians mad at me. I got enough people. With my luck, I'll walk into the one Brazilian that's in Walmart and go, I heard what you said, Mike. I'm big in Brazil, and Aldo knows it. So
absolutely.
Just come home safe, okay? Come home safe. That's all we want. And this is big for the Bears.
And don't bother to get on Twitter because you can't access it. And
Yeah,
don't bother to
hopefully-
get on Twitter. Can you imagine?
Please don't carry your iPad in public.
That's right.
Leave your phone at home. Leave your phone at the Rio de Janeiro hotel or whatever the hell it's called. Don't even go like this.
That's right. Don't
Are
do
you
it.
kidding me?
You'll be in the Brazilian jail for the next 2 months.
I mean,
All right. You were going to pick some games for us because you can pick them better than you
I'm
pick
going to
those.
pick the total. I'm going to pick the total, and I'm going to pick the game. I'm going to, you know what? The game's a tough game. I know Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they lose their first game last year to Detroit? I can't remember. Maybe, Aldo, you can look that up for a second here. Let me look it up.
Mike, you're absolutely right. Detroit Lions went to Kansas City and upset the Chiefs in the first game of last season. You're absolutely right.
Wow. So I want everybody to know that this is no gimme for Kansas City. And you look at the odds, which is over unders are 46 and the odds are -3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking the Ravens plus the 3, and I'm going to take the over 46.
Ooh, okay.
The Ravens 43 and the over 46. And this is, can I pick my nose? Because I didn't do a whole lot of preparing this for this pick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like, can I?
I sprung this one on you like about an hour ago.
Didn't do a lot, but that's okay. I have faith that we can get one of these, hopefully both of them. The Ravens plus the 3 and the over 46, and we'll see what happens in that football game because
love it.
As far as the Bears are concerned,
mm-hmm.
and the rest of the league, I got my over-under totals. Hell's going, you got to be kidding me. This guy actually spent time to get over-under totals. These are 5 teams that I'm betting to win over-under their totals this year, folks, okay? Mm-hmm. So listen and pay attention. You got your pencils and scorecards ready? It's Pat Piper. Tension, please. Get your pencils and scorecards ready, and we'll give you the correct bets for today's ball game. All right, here we go. The Falcons over 9.5. Kirk Cousins, solid around the horn. The other teams supposedly are going to digress. 7.5 is the over-under for the Saints and for the Falcons. I mean, not for the Falcons, for the Buccaneers. So I have the over 9.5 in that game. Next, the Chargers. I'm sorry. You got an actual head coach now. You're coach the last 3-4 years. Staley wasn't bad. Coach back on his heels, though. His defense let him down. He couldn't win games at the end. You got a pedigree coach who got out of Michigan just in time before he was jailed. Jimmy, way to go. Anyway, I'm going to take the over 8.5 in the Chargers game season. All right. This pick here is my easiest pick. Chiefs. I believe the Chiefs want to go undefeated. I believe the Chiefs are on a mission. I believe the Chiefs are hearing Kelsey's getting older. Here's what I'm going to tell you. When you have the best player in football and he wants to win more than anybody, and he's chasing a guy named Tom Brady, it's no different. I was right about this. I thought I might end up being wrong, but Tiger sabotaged himself. To me, Mahomes chasing Brady, and maybe Aldo can jump in, is no different than when Tiger was chasing Nicholas for the major. 15 to 18.
I like that comparison. Yeah.
It's the same thing. Mahomes has made it known, I'm sure. I want to win and I want to win another Super Bowl, and he'd be the first guy to ever win 3 in a row. I'm going 11.5 over. Wow. Next. Now, I may say, oh, my God, we're in trouble now if the Bears beat the Titans this week. I'm not saying that the Titans are going to win this week, but I just think that after their year last year, which over 6.5 is sort of rich, I'm taking the over. I'm just going with the illogical pick here. I think their quarterback's going to be better. This first game is huge for both ball clubs about their totals. So we'll see what happens.
I'm sorry, and that was the Titans that you just
Titans
mentioned?
over 6.5.
Gotcha.
And now, this is my first under. I'm taking a team that won 10 games last year, and this year has a total of 9.5, and I talked about it earlier. Your Houston Texans. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. I mean, I'm looking at, you have the Colts, you have the Titans, the Jaguars are okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So to me, somebody's going to be a surprise here. Somebody's going to win 7 or 8 games, and that is the Titans. So once again, folks, the Falcons over 9.5. Aldo's going, boy, he's even repeating them. The Chargers over 8.5. The Chiefs, okay, over 11.5. The Titans over 6.5, and the Texans under 9.5. So.
And do you have a pick for the Bears-Titans game this Sunday at noon, broadcast on Fox TV? Brewhaw says Bears win 31-12, and Jay Grizz says Bears win 28-13. I say the Bears win by a field goal, which would be they're giving 4.5 points. So I'm saying they're going to only win by field.
I'm with you. That's either that they're not going to cover.
Right.
The Bears won't cover. I hope they win. I hope they eke out a victory. I don't think it's going to be terribly high scoring. We saw a high score in 38-12, and then we saw the other score, which was lower. So I'm with you. I think we have 2 people that like them, maybe more. I'm sure all the Bear fans here.
Oh, yeah.
And why not? And you know, I hope I lose it, to be honest with you. And I'm not putting, that's one game I'm not going to bet. I'll tell you that right now.
Question for you about your 5 teams with the season over-unders.
Yes, sir.
Are you putting the same amount of jelly beans on all 5, or are you separate? Okay.
I'm going to put, like, whether you put $25 on each, whether you put 50, whether you put 100, whether you put 500, try to put the same on all. Okay?
Love it.
Because if you go let's say you go to Chiefs for 100 and everybody else for 25, and the Chiefs only win 11, you screwed yourself. So, folks, once again, Raul Jewelers, Brad Gams, Ryan Gams, go see all the ladies over there. They're waiting for you. Where you can see it even at night. You think it's O'Hare. Raul Jewelers. Where the sparkles right there at 3001 Barrington Road, Hoffman Estates, and a beautiful strip mall over there. It's right there, the end store. Check out Raul Jewelers. Next week, we're on Monday at 3:00, and that's the way it's going to be. This was a special that we had to bring to you before the season started. And folks, good luck this week. Aldo, always good to be with you once again. I'm sorry I was so prepared. I know I threw you off, but
I loved it, Mike. The next 17 weeks are going to be a blast with you.
Yep.
I hope that by the end of the season, we're both cheering the Bears on for the playoff game. But we'll take whatever.
We're not haters. We're just saying.
That's right.
I want them to win this Sunday. Let's go. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks,
okay,
guys.
goodbye.